Namaste. So there's a very famous saying by Ādi-Śankarācārya that Brahma satyam, jagan mithyā. What does that mean? That Brahman, the one, is the truth. And jagat, the many, is illusion, mithyā. But they leave out the third thing that he said, which is that the universe is Brahman. See? Most of us live in a reality defined by the objects of our senses. And it's easy to demonstrate that what we perceive through the senses is not real. For example, when we go to sleep at night, everything disappears. No more sense objects. All we have is the mind. And the mind is full of some really crazy stuff. Then when we enter deep sleep, even the mind disappears. And there's nothing left but Brahman. So this Brahman is truth. And the sense objects, the many, jagat, everything, is illusion. Another proof is that everything of the senses comes into being, stays for some time, and disappears. Whether we're talking about the body itself, the mind, or the sense objects, they all have a beginning, middle, and end. So they don't have absolute existence. They don't have any independent truth. Yet, what we appear to see as the reality seems to be overwhelming and concrete, isn't it? And that's because the third thing that Shankara said, the universe is Brahman. There was nothing else for it to be made out of. Brahman is the root substance. It's the only real thing. So it contains even illusion. And illusion is made out of it because there's nothing else real for it to be made out of. So the reality of the illusion is that it's made of Brahman. There's a beautiful passage in the Upanishads where it says, the wife is not dear because of the wife. The wife is dear because of the self. And he goes on through the husband and the children and the parents and the country and the world even. The world is not dear because of itself. The world is dear because of Brahman, because it's made of Brahman. There's nothing else it could be made of. But the world is an illusion. It's an appearance only. It's a concoction of name and form. What do I mean by that? Well, through the senses we perceive forms. Like there are so many forms here. Pictures, books, statue of Ganapati, and so on. And those forms all have names associated with them. Now, some of those names are names of real things, what the Buddha would call Dhamma. And some of them, actually most of the names, are names of things that don't really exist, adhamma. For example, if I say, my family, this is my family. Well, I exist, and so do the other people in my family, but the family itself doesn't really exist. It's just a name, it's an abstraction, it's a pattern, it's a group, a collection, a set. And we give that set a name. But that doesn't mean that it's real. Huh? The Buddha liked to make the example of a tree. A tree grows in the forest. And it's real. It's alive. It's a product of nature. But then a human being comes along and gives the tree a name. Oh, this is a tamarind tree. This is an apple tree. This is a sandalwood tree, and so on. Now, is the name real? No. It's more or less arbitrary. And it's different in different languages. Even the same thing will have different names in different places and times and so on. So what are these names? They're only language. Language and concepts are adhamma. They're not real. They have no concrete existence. They are not a product of nature. They are a conceit, meaning something conceived by our own minds and projected on the reality. So the reality is the Dhammas, and the Dhammas are products of nature, like rocks, the earth, the stars, trees, animals, human beings. Those are real things. Books, pictures, those are real things. But as soon as we start to talk about collections of things, or give names to abstract entities like corporations or countries or philosophies or religions, which are simply information, simply language. These are adhamma, these are illusion. So most of us live in a world which we call reality. And at least the dhammas, the sense objects, have some apparent reality. But the adhammas, the names that we use to talk about them, have no reality at all. They're simply dreams, thoughts. Just like we may go to sleep and dream about all kinds of crazy things. This afternoon I had a big lunch with a client, and then I took a long nap. And I dreamt about traveling on a road and winding up in some shopping center where there was a band playing. And I liked the way they were playing, so we started to exchange contact information and stuff like this. And then I woke up and poof, the whole thing was gone. So this world is more or less like a dream. The reality of the reality is that what we usually call reality is only a dream, a thought, or an illusion. Śankarācārya uses the word limiting adjunct, or upadhi. An upadhi is a projection that limits the underlying reality of Brahman. So the reality of the reality of the reality is that only Brahman is real. Brahman satyam. Jagat mithyā. But the jagat is nothing but Brahman. You see, this is the conundrum. This is the illusion. The illusion seems dear to us because it's made of Brahman. It's made of reality, but reality which is covered. Reality which has some pattern or form projected onto it. Just like the shadow of my hand is covering my face from the light. We project a thought into the world. And then some people are very surprised when all of a sudden their thought starts springing up everywhere. Well, of course. Because you're wearing rose-colored glasses, the whole world is going to look rosy, right? When you're in love and it's springtime and the weather's beautiful and you're walking outside. Everything looks great, right? You get pleasure from everything. The world is wonderful. But then later on in the wintertime, when it's raining and cold and your lover just left you for your best friend or whatever, the same street or the same scene can look depressing and negative and all this stuff. Isn't it? It's because we put a filter. We put upadhis. There's upadhis, and then there's vasanas. Vasanas are the tendencies, the karma inherited from our previous life activities, which color our desires. It's normal to have desires for eating, drinking, sleeping, and so on, the natural bodily needs, okay? But it's not normal to have desires for honor, prestige, importance, identity of a certain type, some kind of designation or some kind of label. This is the reason why I say I'm not a guru. I'm not even a teacher. Actually, I'm not trying to teach you anything or give you anything. I'm trying to take away your illusions, your upadhis, your vasanas, and leave you bare naked. The naked truth. Why is it called the naked truth? Because truth is naked. Truth is what is, without any covering projection, without any illusory coloration or filter. Just what is, what ain't. The thing is that people are attached to what ain't. They desire what ain't. They want to wear it like a hat. I am the so-and-so, the manager of XYZ Corporation. It's all bullshit. So is it any wonder that it brings suffering? Is it any wonder that it justifies all kinds of negative, harmful activities? Like, look at what the big data companies are doing now. Amassing huge quantities of data, personal information about everybody, and then using it for what great noble purpose? To serve them ads, to manipulate their political convictions, to influence elections, so that the stupidest candidate gets elected. See, these are not good, but they are justified by the essence of the corporate credo to maximize profit. Oh yeah, we had a great quarter. There's a cartoon I saw. Monsanto executive board or something like this. So we had a great quarter. On the one hand, we destroyed 80% of life on Earth. On the other, we had record profits. Yay, whoopee. So these corporations have limited liability for a reason. Because they're out to harm you. That's why a corporation exists. A corporation shields the capitalists, owners, and operators from liability for the corporate activities. But what are they doing? They're still people doing bad things, but they're doing it in the name of a fictitious entity, a corporation, or country, or a religion, or a cause of some kind. See, so people are doing terrible things, justified by names, which are illusory. So this is why the reality of the reality is that most reality, what we call reality, is bullshit. I'll stick with Brahman, thank you. Om Tat Sat. Om Harihi Om.